Today we've got a possession and transition based overload game. It'll be a 4v4 plus 3 overload. Our objective is to improve our spatial awareness, our positional sense in possession of the ball, and working in small spaces as well. In terms of setup, it will be a 20 by 20 square. We're going to use 4 mini goals. You can swap these out for poles or cones or whatever you've got to make a goal jumpers. It is absolutely fine. And we'll need some extra balls to restart and reload as well quickly. I did say 20 by 20 square. By all means, if you feel like you need to make that bigger, smaller, play about with it. 20 by 20 is a guide. Depending on the ability of your players and the points that you're trying to coach, then please make the adjustments that you think are necessary. So in terms of instructions, how does the drill work? So it's going to be a 4v4 in this sense, so blue v whites. We're going to have 3 overload players in pink. They'll all play for both sides in possession. The team in possession are trying to maintain possession and keep the ball. You might score it by counting the passes out loud, or you might score it by saying a certain amount of passes equals a goal. I'll leave that to you, but you can condition it in that sense if you want to. If the defending team, so the Blues here, if they win the ball back and then score in one of the mini goals, when the ball's reloaded by the coach, they're then the team in possession. So that's the transition moment. If they win the ball, scoring the mini goals, that's them transitioning to the team in possession to play. But it's important that it's only when it's scored in the mini goals and the coach gets to reload that the teams are swapped around. If they just win the ball, knock it out of play, that doesn't count as a transition. You'll see here in the animation that the blue team have just won the ball. They're going to go on and score quickly now. Quick transition from defence to attack. The ball then goes to the coach, who will have some spare balls, hopefully, and can reload to the blue team now, who are in possession, and the white team are now the team defending, trying to win the ball back. So the white team started with the overload, using the pinks, so it was a 7v4 overload. The blue team won the ball back, scored in the mini goals. They then transitioned to being the team in possession, and were playing with the pinks at that point. In terms of coaching points, so first thing is positional awareness. We don't want our players to come to the ball. If everybody comes to the ball, it's going to become really, really crowded in certain areas, and we're not going to be using the space effectively. We want them to be looking over their shoulders, scanning around, seeing where the space is, and having the bravery to walk away from the player in possession. Now, walking away from the player in possession has a couple of benefits. One, it gives the player in possession space. You've got to think, if you're rushing towards the ball to receive the ball, along with all the other defenders pressing as well, you're just becoming part of that press. So have the bravery to walk away and coach your players to have the bravery to walk away into the space. So they're giving that player space on the ball and more time on the ball. And they're walking into space, so should have more space around them to play effectively. Remember, we've got an overload here, so we can afford to utilise the space and be a little bit braver in possession. So we're looking for 2 key things in our positional awareness. One is our movement, and the space that we move into, our awareness to scan and to move into that space, and also our timing to move into that space as well. So are we moving into that space at the right time to receive the pass at the right time and to use that piece of space effectively? The next coaching point I want to talk about is drawing a press to use the space effectively. So we're going to switch play here and be able to switch the ball from one side to the other, and players are going to find themselves in space, like this player receiving the ball here. They've got to be brave enough then to recognise that they need to draw a press in to manipulate the defending players to open up space elsewhere. And how that might be relative to a match environment is that sometimes you're going to have to be brave enough to put your foot on the ball, draw a press in so you can exploit the space behind that player, because they might be defending in a really tight block, defending really effectively, really compact. You might not be able to progress on one side of the pitch, but you might want to draw them in a little bit further so you can then switch quickly to the other side and be able to progress through the pitch. So the sort of behaviours that we're looking for here are for players to be brave enough to, given that we've got a 7v4 overload, is to be able to put the foot on the ball, maybe a little bit deception, fake one way, draw a defender in to commit, or 2 defenders in to commit, and then use that space in behind to play into. And that's where other players' movement and timing of that movement that we've just spoke about is really, really important. And all of those first 2 points round up into the third point, the coaching point of can we play through the pressure and look to switch play. That's what the objective of this drill really is yes, we're looking at positional sense, we're looking for bravery in possession, we're looking for spatial awareness as well, but we're also looking to see what our confidence levels are like in tight spaces. This is quite a tight space. So are we brave enough to get on the ball? Are we brave enough to play under the press, knowing that if we get it right, we can play out the other side into space and switch to play? But we won't do that unless we have that mentality. So the players have to be thinking about the game, the construct of the game, where the players are and where the defenders are relative to them, and the communication that goes around that and builds around that's really important as well. And that leads into my next point, which is communication is so important, not just in terms of are we organised, are we compact for the defending side, but also for the team in possession. Where's the space? Where are the next 2 or 3 passes going to come from? And are we manipulating our in-possession team to move into the space as well? So the players that aren't on the ball now, are they communicating, 1, to the player in possession where the next pass is, and 2, to the players around them where they should be in relation to the ball as well? So all of those things need to be communicated consistently through the drill, and every single player has got a responsibility to be communicating not just where the ball is going, but where other players should be in order to receive that ball. Maybe not on the next pass, but on the pass after or the pass after that. So we're building a chain, right? We're trying to build a construct to get out of pressure and get through to the other side. So football's a really simple game, but it becomes a lot more simple if we communicate to each other while we're doing it. My 5th point is scanning. So you should be able to step in and intercept and coach scanning all the way through this drill. Remember, the objective is to improve our spatial awareness, our positional sense as well. So to do that effectively, you don't have to just be looking over the shoulder, because there's a difference between looking and scanning. We are scanning with the intent to receive information and either act on that information or communicate that information to others. That's really important. So have an eye. Are your players scanning effectively, or are they just playing and their heads down, they're running around trying to get on the ball? Are they having the awareness of, while they're not in possession, having a look around, seeing where the space is and moving into that space with the correct timing? Is that happening? Or are they seeing other things on the pitch as well and seeing it while they're scanning and communicating to other players to move into that position? That should never stop. That sort of element of what's around me, my awareness of what's around me, my awareness of my position, my awareness of my teammates' position, that sort of flow state should never ever stop. And the final point is technique. So seems an obvious one, but just to make sure that we are getting the weight of pass correct, we are getting the quality of pass correct as well. We have an overload. We should be relatively brave, relatively comfortable in possession. The defensive side will be looking for triggers, bad touches, stray passes to pick up on, to get. So we want to make sure that the players are really conscious of getting the technique right and making sure that we're getting the weight and quality of our passes correct. So if we look at coaching points for defensive 4, I'll probably just ask a few questions, and I might ask these questions of the defenders as well as I coach. First one being, are we compact? Are we compact as a unit? Are we defending together? Or are we just running and sprinting and trying to win the ball back individually? Defending properly is all about being compact, working as a unit and being a block, essentially. So we are happy to let the ball be played around us. We're not happy for the ball to be played through us. Okay, so we are being compact and we're waiting for our opportunity to press and to win the ball back. My second question would be, are we choosing when to press, or are we just pressing, again, individually? And secondary question to that is, what are our triggers of if we are choosing when to press? And you might just want to ask each team defensively just to choose and decide between themselves. So let them go away for 30 seconds as a group and let them decide what are your triggers going to be, and then get them to communicate that after you finish the drill maybe and have a conversation about it. So they might choose individually that their triggers are when it goes to the overload players. We're just going to press the overload players. It might be that when it's played into the corners when it's played to the left-hand side. When it's played centrally, we're just going to be compact centrally, and we're going to press centrally when it comes in there. But let the players decide. I wouldn't dictate that. It'd be interesting for you as a coach to see what they decide and what answers they come up to solve the problem. It's quite a harsh overload of 7v4, so what they don't want to be doing is just sprinting around aimlessly and chasing the ball. And for it to be realistic to a game, you don't want them to be doing that either, right? So yeah, what are our triggers? I'd ask them that question. Next question I would ask is, are we scanning? So we often think of scanning as an in-possession skill. It's definitely an out-of-possession skill as well. So if we have chosen our triggers, are we scanning to see where the ball's going next, where the opposition players are, where our pressing opportunities might be, and communicating that to each other? I'd set that challenge as well. And the final question I'd ask the defensive team is, are we making it predictable? And defending is all about making the attacking team predictable. If we can do that, we can defend a lot more effectively. If it's predictable, players in and around us are going to understand what's coming next and be able to act on that as well. And when I talk about being predictable, I mean things like, are we forcing them one way? Are we compact enough that we've shown them a particular way and the players that's covering around me can see which direction they're travelling in to be able to step in and win the ball? If we've picked a particular pressing trigger, like that we want it to come to the left-hand corner, for example, and we're going to press there, does our body shape make the attacking team's play predictable enough that they're going to play into that area? I'll just pose those sort of questions to the team. Thank you very much. That is our drill for today. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, please like and subscribe. It makes a huge difference. Pop a comment below if you'd like to see something different, if you'd like to see something else. Turn your notifications on so that you never miss another video. I really, really appreciate your support. Thank you very much. And again, if you haven't subscribed already, please do, and drop us a thumbs up as well. Thank you.